Today's topic is dealing with grief. My father was one of those guys who hated paying child support. And because he hated paying child support, he really didn't want to see my sister and I. So for years, we did not see him. It wasn't until I turned 17 and I was driving and I showed up at his doorstep. He looked outside. He said, "How did you get here?" I said, "I drove here to see you." He couldn't believe it. He said, "Oh, you driving now?" I said, "Yeah." So I went in and we talked. We had a long talk. And he apologized for all those missed times and all that. And he talked about my mother and how she was a good woman and he was just a horrible partner. He admitted it. He said, "I was just a horrible partner." And he said, "I regret a lot of things." And from there, we built a beautiful relationship. Always talking to each other, always seeing each other all the time, laughing with his friends and so on. And I was a big part of his life all the way to the very end. 2 days before he died, we had the most fun. We laughed so hard. We had tears in our eyes. And within 2 days, he was gone. How I processed that situation at that time, I took it for what it was. I knew his character. I knew all kinds of things about him. And I also knew one day maybe this sort of thing might happen because he was a party person during the weekend. He loved to interact with all sorts of different people. And that mix of different people is what led to him not being here anymore, in combination with his congestive heart failure, partying. And so the way I have dealt with that is just I don't focus on the things that he didn't do, his regrets and all those missed opportunities. I deal with the grief by focusing on that last time we was laughing together. I always remember that moment. And I always will. So I keep that memory in my mind of that last time we laughed. We had that moment together just laughing until we couldn't stop. I keep that memory, but how I've been able to deal with the grief, his loss, his passing, is to pour into myself. Pour into myself. My daddy loved to write. He loved to write poetry, all that kind of stuff. So I also love to write. So I write stories. And if you look in my bio, you'll see that I have a book linked in there from Amazon. And that's a book I wrote. It's more of an adult fantasy type stories, short stories compiled in one book. So I write, and like right now I'm working on another book about an assassin. So dealing with his loss, even though my daddy missed a lot of opportunities and a lot of times because he was mad about the child support, which I understood. Even at that time, I understood that it was a significant loss to his, paycheck. And he took it out on us, but I did not overly hate him for it. And when I sat and talked to him as a teenager at 17 years old, I understood more clearly. He admitted, he was just, stupid, crazy, or whatever. And we moved on from that. And I hold that day, I hold that dear to me. So the main things that helped me deal with his passing is my writing, pouring into my writing, and my sister. My sister and I used to go at each other like crazy when we was younger. But when he passed, we became even closer, and our bond is very strong. We pour into each other's cup. We always are caring about each other all the time, seeing how we can help each other all the time. And that has been, what has gotten me through. I don't cry, about him and stuff like that. I just know, I see my sister in him, and she sees him in me also. So it's like he never left. He never left, because I'm funny, she's logical. It's a good combination of two people, creative and logical, and that's exactly what he was, and that's how I've been able to deal with grief.